Into the boroughs, the faithful tune in. Gary Mack's in the booth, let the musings begin. Orange and blue, through the highs and the lows, breaking down every pitch, cause that's how it goes. It's Mets Musings, where the stories ignite. A recap, a rant, and a Saturday night. Stats and passion, a voice fans trust. All for the team that's forever with us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. I wish I could say it was a happy occasion, but of course, 2026 is not a happy year for our Metsies. We are cursed to be Mets fans. And maybe the franchise is cursed. I don't know what it is. They just went on a 5-game losing streak. Broke it last night with a win against Cincinnati. They held on. But again, it was a very close game. A 2-run game margin. And it was closer than that even. But they did manage to eke out a win, so we should be happy about that. Same thing gone on with this team that has been going on since the beginning of the year. Offensive, no consistency. Please do something. Just meet the ball. Don't try to hit home runs. This team, it seems to me that they hit a couple of home runs and then everybody wants to hit home runs. Just meet the ball. Keep the line moving. I mean, watch how they get beaten all the time. These teams are just keep the line moving, punching out a hit, punching out a double, and then occasionally a home run pops in there. I mean, it's nice to have a home run, but there's just too much inconsistencies. And it's been that way the whole season. The whole season has been ups and downs. Let's take a look at that. Opening week, they jumped out to a 2-0 start. Everybody was optimistic. April, they just collapsed. 9-19 by the end of April and never really recovered from that. Then they had that Colorado-Arizona stretch where they won and they got to like 21-26. And then again, the end of May, this recent skid with a sweep in Miami and losing in Cincinnati, and it brings us to today with 23-33. The injuries are mounting, but I'll tell you what, the injuries, the guys that get injured weren't doing any better, except for Soto. And it's time they reach some conclusions on some of these guys. Alvarez, in my book, stinks. He's not that great a hitter. He's not that great a catcher. And he just, he's injury prone. He's hurt every year. It's time, if they can move him, they ought to consider moving him. Polanco is another guy. Well, they just got Polanco. We don't even know what he can do, but he wasn't it. I'm not impressed with Bo Bichette at all. It looked like he was coming around. Then he slumped again. And I'll tell you what, he's probably going to opt out of his contract. He gets a 1 year and an opt out. He's going to opt out and leave. And that's what I don't like about these opt-outs in these contracts. Not after 1 year. You want to put an opt-out in a contract, that's fine. But it's got to be after 2 years at least. Because these guys come into a situation, they're not comfortable or whatever, they have a lousy year, and then they opt out and they leave. And then they go and they're a superstar again. That's not right. They should have to stay another year to earn what they didn't earn the year before that and that upcoming year. I know it sounds confusing, but it just doesn't seem right that a guy comes in and he has a bad year and then he goes somewhere else. And because he's got such a name, he won't get as much money or as much time, but he'll get it because of his reputation in the past. And people will just say, well, he just wasn't a New York kind of guy. But, LA's different. They're winners. Or, this place is different. Toronto, he performed there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the situation. We talked about this before. I cannot figure it out. This is a team that hired new batting coaches. This is a team that has changed the entire hitting philosophy. This is a team that has changed the coaching staff, the front office, and yet the same problems exist. Why is that? And I'm not sure if it exists as much in the minor leagues, though they're not hitting either. But the guys they brought up are carrying the load. AJ Ewing has played well defensively and offensively. He's struggling a little now offensively, but still managed to get a hit now and then. Carson Banks has been on a tear. He's the real deal, offensively and defensively. Okay, Morabito didn't really get a good enough shot, I don't think, and probably need a little bit more seasoning. Who else have they brought up? They've been switching guys so often. It's hard to remember, but they have to do something. I mean, this team isn't even. It's not worth watching them anymore. It's no fun. The other team gets a run or two, and you figure, oh, that's the ball game. Because they're either going to add on and they're not going to hit to get back those 2 runs or whatever. And I don't know if there's not enough fight on in them. But, like I was saying, I think they have to come to terms with some of these guys. Alvarez is one. He's hurt now, but when he gets better, they got to play him, but they got to consider moving him at the trade deadline. You hope he gets hot so you can get an offer for him. Vientos is another guy. He's very streaky. Very, very streaky. But this team can't afford streaky. They need more consistency. It's just mind-blowing, and it's just, you can see it's exasperating. There's so much wrong with this team, and there's some good. I mentioned Ewing. I mentioned Benj. Maybe it's time to get rid of Vientos and bring up Brian Clifford. We'll talk a little bit about him later. but it may be time. Let's see what he can do. Let him play every day. That's where they've done right by Bainge and Ewing. They've left them both in there. Bainge especially, because remember, Bainge was hitting like below 100 almost. And now he's hitting like 260, 270. They did the right thing by him by putting him out there and letting him work it out. See if he can work it out. And he did. Ewing the same way. You can see Ewing as a player. And you can see how he makes adjustments, both of them in game. Those guys are the real deal. You've got the outfield at least 2/3 set. And when you throw Soto in left field, he's fighting a wrist injury, but he's hitting home runs. I mean, he's doing his performing. He's not a home run hitter, but he's hitting, he's getting on base. So he's one guy, but he's DHing right now. But if he plays left field, that's your left field for the next 15 years or 12 years. It's the infield. It's a mess right now. Simeon is doing nothing. He's a complete bust. They should get rid of him. Lindor is out. Bo Bichette is not hitting. I honestly would try to move Bichette at the trading deadline. Beatty's a little streaky. And Vientos we talked about, he's super streaky. But why not bring in Clifford? Throw Clifford in at first base and let him sink or swim there. You get rid of Simeon, you either move Bichette to second, leave Beatty at third, or you move Beatty to second, put Bichette back at third when Lindor comes in. And sink or swim that way. That would be my ideas. There are people that are getting healthy and are coming back. So let's talk about that. Okay, on the injury front, Jorge Polanco left Achilles bursitis. He began a rehab assignment yesterday. Double-A Binghamton will continue building up in the minors till he is able to play back-to-back games and withstand regular defensive reps at first base. And probably going to have to manage that pain all the rest of the season. Tyrone Taylor is out with a right hip flexor strain. He is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with that strain suffered while running the bases on May 25th. His timetable will become more specific once he restarts baseball activities. Luis Robert Jr., what a waste. Lumbar spine disc herniation. No idea when he may be back. Consulting with outside doctors, surgery is not on the table. Timeline will remain fluid until symptoms subside. He has been placed on the 60-day IL. Goodbye, Lewis. We will not see you again. I would expect that this whole season was a disaster, and he may be out for the rest of the year. But you know what? It opened up a spot for AJ Ewing, so it's not entirely a bad deal. Okay, Francisco Lindor could be back late June. He's started baseball activities, fielding drills, running sprints, and swinging the bat in the indoor cage. It is not known when he will begin a rehab assignment. He has been out since April 23rd with a strained left calf. Francisco Alvarez, torn right knee meniscus. He was originally expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, but may be back sooner than expected as he is already doing catching drills and hitting in the batting cage. He is expected, but it could be earlier than mid-July. Keep it longer. Kodai Senga, lumbar spine inflammation. Senga threw 64 pitches over 3 1/3 innings, reached 97 miles per hour in his first rehab start for Single A St. Lucie on May 22nd. Senga will return to New York for further evaluation. It feels good, but I haven't heard much. Carlos Mendoza, the manager, said he could be back in a couple of weeks. Clay Holm with a fractured right tibia. He is due back in August, they say. Fractured his leg on a comeback on May 15th. Will need 6 to 8 weeks to heal, another 6 or so for a spring training style build up. That should take him well past the All-Star break in a best case scenario with hopefully no setbacks. And he'll be able to get off and get back into the rotation. Now, the right leg, of course, is his push-off leg, so it's hard. It's probably even hard for him to keep his arm in any kind of shape, though, he could probably throw flat-footed, but they may not want to push that because if you change your motion in any way, it could screw the whole thing up, and you can end up hurting your arm. Roddy Mauricio, fractured left thumb, mid to late June. Fractured his thumb May 2nd, 6 to 8 weeks. He is progressed to be out of the lineup and, like I said, expected to come back mid to late June. Justin Hagenman, who had a fractured rib during a March 5th game against the Nationals in spring training, he needed 4 to 8 weeks to recover. That recovery time should be soon, and he can start building up, should be going on a rehab assignment. He is expected back sometime in June. So those are the latest injury reports. Of course, we've also got Nunez out for the season, McGill out for the season, and Reed Garrett out for the season. Garrett McGill out from Tommy John surgery, and Nunez had an elbow strain. He's out for the entire season as well. Some of the latest transactions that we said, Luis Robert Jr. transferred to 60-day injured list. Erin Wagaman played last night, recalled from AAA Syracuse. AJ Minter activated from a 60-day injured list and has been rehabbing. Jonathan Pintaro was called up. He was optioned to AAA Syracuse. Jarrett Young activated from 10-day injured list. And Nick Morabito optioned to AAA Syracuse. So that's all of the injuries and transactions that has happened with the New York Mets lately. We are going to take a short break and come back and go down on the farm right after this.
Hi, this is Leonard Hollywood Aberman, and I'm here with my dear friend and co-host on the Baseball and Barbecue podcast,
Jeff the Oak Coot Cohen. And you're listening to Mets Musings with
Gary Mack.
For baseball histories, stories, and great interviews with authors and players, listen to Baseball and BBQ. For barbecue, we have great pitmasters, recipes, interviews.
Just great things. Listen, there's baseball podcasts, there's barbecue podcasts, but there's not a podcast that has both. We do You're going to love it. Baseball and barbecue, great guests, decent hosts, but you're going to love it. So
Yes,
tune in.
we have a lot of fun, and it's available on all your podcast apps.
And on the farm this past week, and for the season, who's been hot, who's been not, whose stock is up, whose stock is down. Ryan Clifford has been on a big time surge. He's been red hot down in the minors. As I said, maybe it's time to call him up and give him a shot. Joe Whitman has been pitching well down there. Been very reliable. Antonio Jimenez has been hitting consistently down there, so he may be another guy to watch. Daniel Hurtado, he's a guy, keep an eye on him. He could be a big breakout player. Eli Serrano, good guy, good outfielder, good hitter. He's been producing pretty regularly through the minor leagues. Played with Brooklyn last year, moved him up. He's producing slowly but surely. He's working his way up. Who's not? Who's trending down right now? Well, Jack Wenninger, who we've heard a lot about, he's had a couple of rough outings lately. So his stock is it's not falling completely, but you're kind of like, well, seasoning, Jeffrey Ann had a rough week down in the majors. The whole Brooklyn team, the offense has been, like the Mets, inconsistent and remains so all year. They'll score, they'll get ahead, then they'll give the runs back. It's just something that's going on in Brooklyn as well as in New York. Maybe it's a New York City thing. Who knows? System bullpens. The bullpens have struggled throughout the Mets system this year so far. They have not been good in late parts of games. So that's something else they'll have to work on. But here's the thing with the minors. Ryan Clifford is becoming the hot hitter, the hottest bat in the system, and it may be time to give him a chance to see what he can do on this level. They may feel he needs a little bit more seasoning because he has had streaks of good and bad, and they may want to make sure he's one of those type of guys that comes up and sticks instead of a guy that struggles. Maybe he doesn't makes his adjustments as quick as some of the other guys like a Carson Bange, but he has been nothing short of terrific lately. The upper level pitching depth, it's shaky. It's really shaky in the minors right now. And now with Tong up with the big club, and everyone else that they've been bringing up lately, it's there's not much there. Like I said, Winnick has been struggling. A couple of the other guys have been struggling. So we'll have to see what happens there. St. Lucie has been performing. Has been very, very good, and they have been outperforming what people expected from them. Didn't think a lot was going to happen there, but they have managed to do so. So that's a good sign for the future that the lower levels are still producing good enough players. Ilian Pena, for instance, is having a pretty good season so far. So those are all good things for the future of this team. Now, let's take a look at the standings. Syracuse is 27-25 as of May 27th. 5 games back. They are in a tie for third place. Binghamton is 16-31. They are 9.5 games back, and they are in last place. They're struggling this year. Brooklyn, same story. 14-32, 16 games back, and they are in last place. And St. Lucie is at 21-26, 7.5 games back, and they are in third place. And keep in mind that these are all first half. The records change halfway through the season, and they have a chance to get back in and still make the playoffs because they take the first half winner, the second half winner, and I think 2 wild cards or something like that. So they have a chance anyway to make up ground in the second half. But suffice it to say, that's the first half thing. So the minor leagues are struggling a little bit like the majors, but something has to be found out about. I just don't understand. And, you know, this has always been the Mets. The Mets have never, they've never been great hitting other than, you know, Strawberry coming through the system and a few other guys, but I just don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's some sort of curse. I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know if it's bad coaching. I don't know if it's bad teaching on the minor league. It doesn't seem to be at the minor league level as much, because you do get guys like a Baines and a Ewing that come up. I don't know. It's just very disappointing, and let's hope that it gets better quickly, and they can make a run up the standings, at least for a wild card. I don't think it would be realistic to say they have a shot at the division at this point. Atlanta's still playing good baseball. Philly's starting to play better since changing the manager. Do the Mets need to do that? I don't know. Would it make that big a difference? I don't know. And who would they hire? I mean, they had Mattingly sitting on the bench there as the bench coach. You're not going to, I don't think you're going to turn over this team to Kai Correa. So where do you go? Do you go to a Beltran if you fire Mendoza? I don't know. Would a Beltran want to take over in the middle of the season like this? Almost the middle of the season. I don't know what the answer is right now, but we'll keep watching it. We'll keep hoping for the best. So keep tuning in, and we're on the video YouTube and Rumble if you want to watch us, and subscribe or leave a comment. Please do. You're always welcome to. And the audio is available on all of your audio podcast apps. So check it out. So until the next time, it's very difficult, my friends, but keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. I'm Gary Mack. I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.